All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Launchpad Live. My name is Melissa Sittler, and I'm one of the academic advisors for Arizona Online. And today we're sitting here with Jennifer Hansen. She's a student support specialist for the SALT Center. And we're also joined by Caroline. She's one of our online students, and her major is the Bachelor of Art in Psychology. So thank you for being here today, guys. And today we're going to discuss the SALT Center resources for Arizona Online. And before we get started, if you do have any questions, please make sure to type them in the chat box and we will get to them at the end. This is a live session which is being recorded and we will upload it into Launchpad. So Jennifer, Caroline, thanks for being here. Jennifer, can you tell us what the SALT Center is and what does it stand for?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having us here today, Melissa. So SALT stands for Strategic Alternative Learning Techniques. So alternative learning techniques, that's kind of a big description of what we do. But essentially, what it means is we work with students that learn differently, students that have different learning and attention needs. So a student could come in, for example, that has dyslexia as their learning challenge. And so that student may struggle with reading material, may take longer to kind of process information. And what we do is we show that students some alternative techniques in order to be successful. So it could be showing them an app, for example, that can help break down tackle the large amount of reading material, or maybe showing them ways to kind of extract the most important information from a large reading. So alternative learning techniques, they're all different depending on the student and kind of what they need, but SALT is a great way to break it all down. So center.
Thank you so much for describing that. That sounds like an awesome department and service. And I think maybe some students might wonder, what are the differences between the SALT Center and, say, the Disability Resource Center or think tank?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the SALT Center is a academic support program where we, as I mentioned, work with students with learning and attention challenges, but we do not provide accommodations, whereas the Disability Resource Center on campus, they're the main unit that facilitates individualized accommodations. So many of our students are also registered with the Disability Resource Center, or DRC, excuse me, so that they can get the help that they need. It might be extended time or the e-text accommodation or whatever it is accommodation-wise, but those things are figured out by the DRC on campus and not part of what we do. We can help students advocate for themselves. So sometimes a student in high school might have accommodations and they get to college and they think that they don't need those accommodations anymore, but often they still do, so we support students in that way. And the think tank, I know you'd mentioned that as well, that's another resource on campus where students can get help for tutoring and whatnot, but our services are a little bit different because we provide comprehensive tutoring. One of the services we provide are standing appointments, so students can, get with the same tutor every week, and they can get help for a class for the duration of the semester, so they have that consistency with a 1-hour appointment with a tutor. And some of our students will use all of these resources. Ultimately, they're there to help university students, whether in online or main campus, be successful. So a student might have a standing appointment with a tutor for Spanish, for example, a couple times a week through the SALT Center, but maybe they're working on an assignment at night and need help real quick, so they could drop in and do the think tank for support as well. So they're all resources, but SALT's just a little bit different in terms of the comprehensive nature, I guess, of what we provide.
Thank you for explaining that. That was really helpful. And you talked about, kind of the role of the student support specialist. You are one yourself. Can you kind of explain to us what that relationship looks like and how that relationship is built between the student and the support specialist?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a support specialist and I meet with students for our appointments weekly in the online campus. So we meet and we get to know each other right away. I know it's important to kind of find out the best way to help the students. So I like to ask a lot of questions, kind of find out about what their goals are. I help a lot with time management, organization, find out what's working well for that student, what's not working so well. And we develop this great collaboration, I guess, over the course of the semester. That's really individualized, I think. We also develop like an individualized learning plan. So a student might be using, hopefully the student is using a lot of the resources that we offer within the SALT Center, tutoring, support, just being one of the many services that we can offer students.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think that, individualized kind of plan that you create is so beneficial to students, which brings me to Caroline. I would love to hear your experience, Caroline, with the SALT Center, and if you can talk about, how the SALT Center has impacted you as a student.
Yeah, so this is my first semester at U of A, and so it's my first semester using SALT Center, and it's been really beneficial, especially having the meetings with Jennifer once a week have been really helpful in making sure I'm not getting overwhelmed and stressed with what I have to do the coming week, because we meet on Mondays before I even start school. So that's been really helpful. I use the psych services, I use the standing appointment tutorings, and I also, of course, use Jennifer. And so all three of those combined on a weekly, daily basis have been really beneficial for me to make sure I'm really coping with the stress of school and making sure that I have what I need to do for the week, and just to make sure that I'm staying on top of my game without anything else really getting in the way.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Caroline. And it sounds like they provide you kind of with this tool belt to be successful, so you can handle all of these elements outside of school or in relation to school.
It's really powerful. Yeah, the SALT Center is a very powerful tool to have in your toolbox for sure.
So what advice would you give a student who is wondering if they should reach out to the SALT Center, but they might be a little bit hesitant? What advice would you give?
If you're hesitant about the SALT Center, first thing I would say is don't be. It's such a great program because you're not alone in anything. You have so many points of contact that you feel like you are being supported through your journey of higher education, and it's such a powerful thing because you will never be stressed alone. You will never be anxious. You'll have someone there as your cheerleader the whole time, and so those wins, they'll win with you. Those losses, they'll lose with you. And so it's such a powerful tool because you will not be alone in anything you do within higher education.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story and experience with us. And I think that will give a lot of students the motivation to take that first step and to reach out. So thank you for that.
Of course.
We were going to see if there are any questions in the chat, but I don't believe that there are. So again, Jennifer and Caroline, I wanted to thank you so much for speaking with us today. I think that this information was really beneficial. We will provide information on how to go to the SALT Center website and find out more information on how to apply. So we'll go ahead and provide that with the recording afterwards, okay? All right.
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us, and folks at Arizona Online, I hope you found this helpful, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.